Welcome to another episode of Felice's Closet. Today is a somewhat of a tribute to my father, whose birthday would be tomorrow. Had he lived, he would be 88. Yes, 88. But he died well before his time. He died when he was 63. Unfortunately, he missed out on social media stuff because I think he would have been in it too. But my dad, before all these cooking shows, if we were over, let's say, my Uncle Harold's house, and we were all hungry. Now, granted, my Uncle Harold could cook also, but he wasn't quite as good as my father. And then he started making all these strange meals that nobody would eat. But we loved my father to cook. The only problem was with his cooking was that he was messy. He used every dish you had to prepare these great meals. What I really was intrigued with him about was the fact that he could do high flame cooking, like on these cooking shows. You got to have it ready in a half an hour. Well, he would always come in. He would have been number one because he was the king of high flame cooking. So today, I'm doing a tribute to him based on his high flame cooking. I've already started water because we're going to be using pasta. So I've already got the water started. I'm going to turn it up now and get it warm. And the best way to get liquids hot faster is to actually cover them with a lid. I'm making pasta with crab meat, crab claw meat. See? And I've let it sit in warm water for a while so it wouldn't be so frozen, but it is frozen pretty much. I've got my water going. The water, I'm going to pour pure sesame oil into it to give it flavor, also to stop the pasta from sticking. So I'm not going to really measure this. I'm just going to, put in as much as I feel. This is a feeling thing. Put in as much sesame oil as I feel will be necessary for flavor and to stop it from sticking. So I kind of let the bottle, it's a plastic squeezable bottle, so I did it about 6 times. So that's the end of me using the sesame oil. Also, the sesame oil kind of replaces salt. So this is just sesame oil, and that's it. And I'm going to put a lid on it. They say put a lid on it. In this case, we are putting a lid on it so that it will boil a lot faster. And I'm also going to turn it up really high. Okay? Now my pan has been preheated. It's still on low while I'm preparing all the other things. I have stripped the clove of its sleeves. So I'm going to be chopping this up very finely. I find that chefs still do things the old-fashioned way. They don't necessarily, and they might have a kitchen full of gadgets, because they are chefs and people probably send them equipment all the time. But I still notice that they use old-fashioned ways of chopping and slicing and dicing. So I'm not exactly out of place with that. So I'm chopping up. The proper way to do this is really like this. How many chefs have nipped the ends of their fingers? Probably all of them at one time or another. So, but kitchen safety is also important. So certain things I wouldn't recommend a small child to do. You can give this to them after you've chopped it up, and maybe they can handle a phase of it, that doesn't require a lot of supervision. But this part of it, I would say no. And always, if they're in the kitchen with you, standing on a chair like I used to when I was little and curious about what was going on, safety was always number one. You don't want a child getting too close to flames or anything else. But watching you chop is good. Just remind them, don't do it without you. Because they, get curious and think they're big enough to do it themselves and wind up cutting their whole hand off. So you don't want that either. So I'm just chopping this up very finely. And now I'm chopping it up again. And I'll refine it a little more. Now granted, I could have bought granulated garlic. But something about fresh garlic, it's worth the commitment. Okay, so now I've gotten that pretty fine, we'll call it coarse. And I'm putting it into the pan. And you notice there's no butter or anything in the pan. It's just a dry pan with the garlic. Now, I'm putting it all in there. Next, I am going to take very thin slivers of garlic and put in the pan as well. Oh, the smell. The smell of garlic is incredible. It'll open up your nostrils. Garlic is good for a lot of things. It's just like the discovery of baking soda. Baking soda is good for a lot of things that ail you as well. The fresh smell of garlic is just incredible. Okay, so now I'm going to take my wooden spoon, and now I'm going to move it around, move the garlic around with the butter. Incredible smell. You want something cute, fun to eat, and you don't have a lot of time, and this is just as good as Hello Fresh and all those other things that they send you in the mail. Sometimes we need to slow time down instead of speeding it up. As one of my friends used to say, quick, fast, and in a hurry. I wish you all could be here, or a thing called virtual smell. This is heavenly. And just to think, it smells great and is also good for you. Alright, so now that I've got that kind of going, I'm going to add the crab claw meat. The only time I get this is when it's on sale. I cannot afford the $40 that it usually costs. So I was very lucky. It was on sale for 20 bucks. So I was like, oh, well, I can buy two for the price of one. So, okay, I'm tapping it out, making sure I get all of it. And see, it's kind of like a mound. And I'm just chipping away at the mound. It's taking more of the shape of a ball. And I will flip it over and just chip away at it. I'm not really, trying to be very hard with it. And I have it on a low flame. Like, this is an electric stove, which most chefs don't cook with an electric stove. They cook on a gas stove. I haven't quite figured out why yet, but there's a reason for it. Otherwise, a lot of them would be using electric stoves. I think the heat distribution is better. But I'm not really a chef. I'm just somebody who's hungry and says, oh, well, let me share how I make this. This is real easy. It's not going to be very complicated at all. The featured thing is the claw meat. And I'm not going to smother it with sauces and things like that. I'm going to turn it up a little more. And you see how that's the ball of claw meat is slowly coming apart as I spin it around, and it's getting warmer and warmer and warmer. I was going to add 2 containers of the crab, and I'm not sure about that now. I do want to really enjoy it today, so I'm probably going to add the other one to it so that I can have a lot. And in this home, we eat leftovers. We're not too good to say, oh no, I'm not eating that. It's leftover. And to my surprise, the other one was open. So I'm going to put that one to the side. I think we'll just use this one. All right. Now pasta is boiling. Pasta water is boiling. And now I'm going to put some pasta into it. I might use the whole thing. It doesn't mean we have to eat the whole thing, but I might use the whole thing. They make these containers so hard to open nowadays, you know. And with good reason, because people are crazy. The water smells really good because of the sesame. And this is a genuine sesame oil. I break my pasta into 2 pieces. And if you really want to speed it up, just use ramen noodles. They work the same way. You just don't have to put the flavoring and all of that in it, but it'll give you the same results. So if you really like, I want to speed it up even faster, use some ramen noodles and call it a day. I'm going to use all of the pasta. That way, later on, if we want to have the same thing again, we don't have to worry about, oh, I got to make more pasta, or in this case, I didn't make enough, you know, whatever. So this way I have enough. And I'm using the knife to swirl the pasta around. Okay? And then I'll put the lid back on. It's going down, our ball is going down. I love the way they do the enticing thing of having, you know, a couple of thick pieces in it, but not really enough to go, wow, this is lumpy. It's not. I can actually pick out with my hand the chunks, so to speak, that are in here. Not many. It's basically crab claw, which is, you know, thin, little chunky pieces of crab meat. But nevertheless, it is what it says. And it wound up being not a bad amount. It would be good for crab cakes. One of the things I like to make is a crab salmon cake. It's really good. Really nice blend of both types of seafood. Salmon and crab together in a crab cake. Oh, that is good. And also it stretches the crab meat. But you need more crab meat than salmon because salmon has a stronger taste. So in order for them to balance out, it's best to use less salmon and more crab. But this is almost done. Let's see here. Let's see. Pasta's roaring. And it should be in 5 minutes. Or maybe 10. It should be ready. Okay. So this, I'm going to turn the flame up just a little more. There we go. Now I'm going to add Old Bay seasoning. See, Old Bay it's been around like forever. I first became familiar with Old Bay when I had gone on a trip to Virginia. It was me and two of my friends. We went to Virginia Beach for vacation. And that's when I discovered Old Bay seasoning. It was kind of funny because we went to an all-you-can-eat crab place. We went to, I think, 2. And they put this seasoning on the table. And we didn't know what it was until they explained it. It's really good. I love it for seafood. I've actually used the seasoning for chicken. Yeah, it tastes real good. Depending on what you're making, the Old Bay can just really bring out the flavor. It's really, really good. So this is almost done. And see, it's getting fluffier. I've also made crab with eggs, scrambled eggs, and Texas toast. In one of my segments, I'm going to show you a really cute thing to do for someone for Valentine's Day, birthday, any kind of special occasion where you want, or just occasion where you say, I want to make my partner feel good. That's all. Or I want to make my child feel good. It doesn't matter. It's a feel good thing to do. And talking about putting a smile on their face. Oh, it's priceless. All right, so this ball is now down to just this. And pretty soon that's going to dissipate. So while my pasta is roaring and the crab meat is almost done, I'm going to add another little bit of butter to it. Just a little bit. You know, as you get older, you can't eat the way you used to when you were a teenager. It doesn't work. The bodies do change and things do happen. So you have to kind of watch your proportions and watch what you do. Now, I love seafood. There is no doubt. But seafood no longer loves me the way I loved it. So I have to do it in moderation. I mean, real moderation. It disappoints me sometimes because I'd like to just wild out on it. But I do have memories of when I did. Now this is pretty much done. Gotta let all of it, see our little piece now is just this big. Now I'm going to just taste a little bit. Oh, this is good. Oh, yeah. The garlic, I can taste it. The Old Bay seasoning just gives it that extra kick. And for this part, it's almost just got a little bit right there. Just a little tiny bit. And that's pretty much gone. Okay, another couple of scrapes. And that will be history. Yep. Oh, this is very tasty. It's a little dry, but the dryness is kind of okay because once the pasta blends with it, then it'll be fine. And this is pretty much done. Okay, we're going to turn this off and let it naturally cool down. I'm doing things that are unorthodox, such as taking a knife and putting it in the pasta. It's the same stuff. I think the pasta is ready. You say you throw it up on the wall. Imagine if you worked in a place where every time they wanted to test pasta, they threw it on the wall, right? Let's say throw it on the wall and not clean it off. Now I've turned that down also so it can naturally cool, and whatever cooking needs to be done will naturally be done in this process, in the cool down. But just to make sure, I'm not one of those al dente pasta lovers. I just don't like it. I like for my pasta to be cooked soft, where I can taste it. I don't like chalky tasting pasta. So here we go. We're gonna check it out with the knife, with the fork. I think that it probably needs just a little bit more cooling down. Let's see what we got here. It's al dente, which they say that's the proper way to eat it. I'm not feeling it. So we're going to let that cool down. And let me taste this just a little more. See if I'm missing anything. Well, actually, it's good. Very tasty. It's just the pasta needs to cool down and cook down a little more. And that's pretty much it. So what I am going to do is now I'm going to disappear just for a moment to go and drain it. Okay, I'll be right back. So this is a simple meal that can be prepared by anyone. I won't say even a child could do it, but certain phases of it, yes, a child could do it. Now I always rinse the pasta to get any starch out of it. Get all the starch out. And now I've strained it. Let's see, I've strained it a little more. Here we go. And another part of a great meal is the plating part of it. It's one thing to make the meal, right? But it's another thing to plate the meal. See, that's where a lot of people, from what I noticed on the internet, that's a part that's missing. Plating. There's nothing wrong with having a fancy meal at home. You shouldn't have to go out to a fine dining establishment to have a beautifully plated meal. You can do this at home yourself. So, I know I'm not using the proper pasta spoon and all of that. You don't have to have all of that. Now, I want to show you all a little trick. I should have thought about it earlier, but I didn't. Alright, so here's my pasta. Alright, you see I've created this hole in the middle. And there's a reason why I didn't get rid of this. So, I'm going to put it down in here. I'm putting it back into the plastic that it came in. Some of you already know what I'm getting ready to do. Others are like, what is she doing with that? Alright. Want to take a bet? Alright. See this? I'm now going to, just for TV purposes, I'm going to put this here, like this, right? And then I'm going to turn it over and tap it. Now before I do that, I'll make sure I've got my pasta all piled high around it. Just like this. And I stay within the boundaries of the plate. See that? I stay within the boundaries of the plate. Alright. And then I'm going to take some Parmesan cheese. Not fresh. And just sprinkle it all the way around like so. Alright. And let's see what else I have here. Just to give it a little more definition to the plating. Let's see. Well, we'll just use a little bit for Obey. Just to sprinkle it. I'm looking for some greenery. I don't have anything. Let's see what we got. Nope. We don't have anything there. Let's see. I've got spinach. So what I'm going to do is very creatively, and see, this is something you can also eat. So everything on this plate is edible. So you open up the leaves so that they behave themselves. Ooh. There we go. And we get real creative and say, okay, what are we going to do with the stems? We will take the stems and use them too. we go. And then last thing is to take that off like that. And we can sprinkle it across the top with just a little bit of Obey for contrast. Or maybe no contrast, I don't know. And there we go. You see? A plated meal. Didn't take that long to do it. And doesn't that look nice? Let me give you a close-up over it. And there we have it. Right? And this is a tribute to my dad, who could do high flame cooking, and I did it within the 30 minutes that he would have done it. Thank you for watching another episode of Felice's Closet, and happy birthday to my dad for tomorrow, but I will post this tomorrow. This is in tribute to him. So, thank you all for watching another episode of Felice's Closet. Take care.